Hey, what's up? I'm Amin Dhillon, and welcome to my podcast. I'm sitting down with the movers and shakers and the stars to chat about life, love, business, and being a total boss. It's raw, it's candid, it's the stories behind the headlines. This is In Conversation. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Amin Dhillon, and on today's episode, I have an exclusive chat with the one and only ZAID ALI. Yes, Zed is going to be in the show answering all of my questions, so I'm really looking forward to that. But before we get to the exclusive, I just want to remind you all that if you like videos like this and you want to see more videos and more content from me, please do subscribe to my channel. All right, guys, let's check it out. Here is my exclusive interview with ZAID ALI. ZAID ALI, on the show, thank you so much for being a guest. First of all, how's it going?
So far, so good. Just a busy day as normal. Nothing too crazy happening. How are things with you?
Things are good. So I'm downtown. Where are you?
I'm in Kitchener, so about like an hour and a half away from you.
Yeah, but I would have loved if we could have done something in person, but I know
Yeah,
that's quite the commute. So glad that we're finally doing this.
yeah. I hope I meet your expectations of how interesting you hope I am, because a lot of people say that I have a dual personality. Like when the camera turns on and I'm vlogging, I'm a whole different person, but in person, I'm a whole different person. If that makes sense.
Absolutely makes sense. And I'm the same way, actually. I actually tell people I think I'm shy in real life, but then if people see me only through my interviews, they think I'm like so chatty and outgoing. I'm like, in real life, I'd rather be in the corner, quiet, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty much basically how I am as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are like that. I'm sure your fans want to hear all about your journey and what you're up to. So we've got lots to cover in this interview. I want to begin by getting the real story because, I think it's so cool that you've had so much success on YouTube, but I really want the real story and how you actually ended up on YouTube. So I know you've probably talked about this before, but for me, you're going to take me back to when that idea first came into your mind. Like, what happened during that time? Was there something that made you get inspired and say, hey, I think I'm going to try YouTube?
Well, the thing is, it's like a mixture of a lot of things that happened in my life, and I feel like it all just came together all at once. So the basic story that happened was that I grew up in Brampton. So before moving to Kitchener, our family had moved to Brampton initially, just like I guess half the brown population in Canada. So while we were living in Brampton, I used to go to a school named Fletcher's Meadow. That's where I was in high school. And one day, basically, what happened is that my friend came in a YouTube video, and this was back when like YouTube was like not that heard of. Like nobody used to make YouTube videos. Like you would always think that, oh, one day I would make a YouTube video, but nobody actually like got around to it because it was just like it wasn't considered a career. It wasn't considered something that you could actually make something out of. So during those times, my friend actually came in another friend of mine's video. Well, I wouldn't consider the other person a friend. I would just say someone I knew. And what happened is that I really liked the format and the video style that they were making. And I really wanted to be a part of those videos as well, because I was like, you know what? I just feel like I have something in me that I can contribute to their videos as well. So I asked my friend to ask the other person who was the actual like owner of the channel if I could come in one of their videos. And I guess this is one of those like stories that you hear from like everyone, where you get rejected and then you get angry and you're like, you know what? I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to make my own thing. I'm going to show them that, I can do it on my own. So long story short, I went home, made a YouTube channel, just started talking about some random things in my life. My first ever video was why I hate Facebook. So that was my persona was basically a guy who just hates stuff, and I used to swear a lot, and I was really angry, and people really like that side of me. So that's how I started. And the craziest part was within 2 weeks, I crossed the subscribers of the channel that I initially wanted to be on. So I was like, wow, like this is actually crazy that the people who weren't letting me in on their platform, I've crossed their platform within 2 weeks. And once I started doing these videos on YouTube, what happened in me is that I saw that a lot of people were enjoying them, and a lot of people were laughing, a lot of people were having a good time watching these videos. And I come from a background where I was bullied a lot as a child. And I know that if you ask children specifically, a lot of people use the word bullying very lightly. Like if, let's say, one day in school they were like hit by a kid, or they were like picked on one day, people would be like, I was bullied as a child. But for me, it was like bullying to the extreme. Like there's nothing that crosses the amount of bullying that I received, to a point that I still remember back in elementary school, we had recess, and in one of the recess periods, I was the only kid allowed to go out because my entire class had to stay for detention because they all bullied me together. And that's unheard of. There's never a case you'll ever hear where a teacher says, you know what? The entire class is staying in for detention. Only Zaid is allowed to go outside because you guys all like ganged up and bullied him. So it was just like a very, very traumatic childhood I had. I didn't know why people didn't like me, but I just wasn't liked. And the fact that when I started making these videos and I saw that I was giving people happiness, I was making them smile, or it was any way that, you know, I can contribute to someone else getting a good time out of the content that I'm making, is what kept pursuing me to keep going and make more content. And it's been 10 years now and I'm still going, and let's hope I can keep this going for as however long as I can.
Okay, let's get back to that. I don't understand why children were so mean to you.
The thing is, I don't know if I can truly blame the children. Maybe I had like a personality that just nobody wants to be around. I don't like, to this day I still can't figure out what it was. I have no idea. And there were a lot of other brown kids in my school as well. So it wasn't the fact that I was brown, but I just never understood why it was. I was a new student at the school. That could have been one of the reasons, you know, since everyone already knows each other and there's a new kid in school, you know, that could be a reason why bullying can occur as well. So I came to my elementary school in grade 4, and the elementary schools end in grade 5. So I feel like all the kids have grown up together, and it's like the last few years, so they all know each other well. And then there's this random guy who comes, and it's like it becomes like a norm. Like once a few kids are doing it, everyone wants to do it. It's like a whole movement that starts. You know, sometimes you don't even know why you're doing it. You're just doing it because everyone else is. So even to this day, I have no reason why. But the good thing is that a lot of kids that did do it in the past, like message me now and they'll be like, oh, I'm sorry for what I said in the past. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I hope you're doing well. It's so great to see you doing well in life. And for me, I don't hold any grudges. I don't have anything against anyone. I'm really happy to see, you know, people messaging me that. And it makes me happy as well that, you know, sometimes even down the line, no matter how long it took, people realize, you know, what they did was wrong. And that just is a good thing overall.
Oh, for sure. And I'm really sorry that that happened to you. I hope kids growing up now are a little bit nicer. I hope so.
I hope so as well, but you know, I think that this bullying mentality is like very hard to tackle, and I feel like, unfortunately, as bad as it sounds, I don't think there's any way to get rid of it. I think it's gonna stay, and I feel like also another thing is that sometimes these things also make you stronger as a person. I feel like all this criticism that I received at a young age helped me not care about the criticism I received when I first started as a YouTuber. Thousands of people would be like, "Oh, you suck. Your comment, like this is not funny. You're garbage. This is." It's come to a point that I literally at nighttime I literally open up hate comments, and my wife thinks I'm weird, but I literally read them and I laugh because they're so funny. I actually get entertainment from just reading them. I just keep reading them and I'm like, wow, this one's actually clever. It's funny. And like that actually gives me like joy just reading these comments. So I feel like it also builds your character as a person as well, and it makes you a strong person. But although I don't know if that's like the right way to, you know, be advocating of how you should build a strong personality.
Okay, so what about last night? Did you read any hateful comments?
Yeah, I did. I recently have a post which is going viral because the whole internet misunderstood it. I don't know if you saw it, but I made a post on Instagram recently where I said that it was with me and my wife. We did a photo shoot, and I captioned it that 3 years ago everyone bashed Yumnah for not being pretty, and here we are 3 years later, and she's as confident as ever. You're a queen, Yumnah. So everyone, literally the whole internet took it that I'm just saying she's still confident, but she's still ugly. Like they think that I'm siding with the fact that, you know, everyone that called her ugly was right, but she's still confident. And it blew up so much that it has like thousands and thousands of retweets on Twitter. There's a lot of celebrities that even have commented on it. And that's what I was reading last night. And I was just laughing. And I was like, at this point in our generation and the world we live in, people just need anything to get angry about. They just need something to, you know, hate on someone for. It just blows my mind of how, like, you know, everything or anything that you say can be misinterpreted
Mm-hmm.
online and can be used against you now.
Absolutely. So I was actually going to talk about your wife later on, but since you brought her up, let's actually talk about her right now. I know I was thinking back to, like, you know how you're saying you're okay with criticism, you're used to it. That must have been really hard when you went public that you are married to her now, and then people weren't being supportive. What was that like when you were going through all that? How was she taking it?
She was just like me, surprisingly, although she's never been on social media. She was just laughing it all off. She said that nothing matters to her except the ones that are close to her. As long as me, my family, or her family don't think anything negative of her, I feel like nobody else's opinion matters, because people just make an opinion for the sake of it. At the end of the day, it's the close ones or the people that actually truly matter to you whose opinions should matter as well. So that's the mentality and mindset that she had, which I'm really happy. And I feel like that's also helped her, like, get through everything. And she's just like me. She laughs at comments as well sometimes too. So it
That's
was it was
amazing.
it was good. Yeah.
That's good. Okay, can you tell me the love story then? Can we put the little like story on that? How did you two meet and fall in love?
I don't think the thing about that story is that I've never made it public, and I don't think I specifically can. So I think that part of it, we can just leave it to the fact that we liked each other, and our parents just basically agreed on the relationship. They said, like, our families liked each other, everyone was happy to move forward, and everything worked out. But the specific story itself, like, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to disclose it, only because in brown families there could be issues, or there could be some things that you shouldn't disclose. So specifically that story, I've never, even my close friends don't know, nobody knows yet, and I think
Okay,
I might just keep it a mystery.
that's totally fine. But what was it about her that you just knew that she was the one? Can you answer that?
Well, the thing is, it gets a bit religious as well. So in our religion, there's a thing called istikhara, which is basically like a prayer that you do, which is between you and God. And the way it works is that once you do this prayer, you're basically asking God to guide you towards a right decision. If the decision is good for you, then make that decision happen. And if the decision is bad for you, then take that decision away from you. But slowly, like, slowly and surely, just take it away from you, and you won't feel any guilt in your mind about it. So after knowing her for a few years, my family did istikhara. Her parents did istikhara at the Khana Kaaba, which is like the holy great mosque in our religion. And after that, there was like no doubt in my mind that if everyone's istikhara is coming back positive, at that point you're just leaving it up to God, that he's telling you that this is the right decision for you in life. Because at the end of the day, you can never be sure about anything. You can know someone for 10 years, and at the end of the day, after knowing them for 10 years, they can still betray you, or there can be a lot of things that can happen. So at the end of the day, I feel like leaving it up in God's hands, and letting him decide for you, and him giving you the assurity that this is the right decision for you, was more than enough for me to know that she was the one.
Okay, that's amazing. Okay, so you guys have been married for a few years now. What do you
Yeah.
think you've learned about married life that maybe you weren't aware of before?
I think that the promises you make before marriage are like complete bogus. You can be like, oh, after marriage, I'm gonna do this, or we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. I think nothing holds up. I think at before marriage, you're all like lovey-dovey, so you're making all these promises that I'll do this for you, I'll make sure this is done, I'll do this, I'll do this. But then after marriage, I feel like everything changes. Not only with just the husband, but with the wife as well. I feel like we both made so many promises to each other that we now look at and we just laugh at. We're like, yeah, there's no way I'm doing that. That was just in the moment of the time. So I think a lot of things change, but there's also a lot of positive things as well that come in your life. You become a lot more mature. You learn a lot about your responsibility as a person. Before living with my parents, I didn't understand that there's a lot of bills that you have to pay, because our parents take care of everything and they don't ever let us know. After getting married, you realize that you actually have to pay to live in this world. Nothing in this life is free. You have to pay for all the bills. You have to make sure all the rent is paid on time. You have to make sure you're providing a shelter, food, everything for your family. So I think it's a good change in a sense as well, but it just overall helps you learn about being more responsible and mature as a person.
Okay, that's good. Do you think you're gonna have kids soon?
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, the aim is, inshallah, that we're trying to hopefully by the beginning of next year, if
Ooh.
if if everything goes well. That's the goal. Like, I love kids, but I did feel that you shouldn't have kids just for the sake of having kids. You should have kids when you're properly ready, because I feel like what happens a lot is that when you have kids just for the sake of having kids and you can't give them the proper time, the proper needs of a child, then it's just that sometimes it doesn't just work out the way you want it to. So I want to make sure that we have a kid when I know for a fact that I can give the child my full time. I can make sure that, I can take out time to make sure all their needs are being met. And, just as parents, we are ready to have a child as well. So if everything goes well, hopefully next year. If
Okay,
not,
and
then
then
maybe
how
another
many are we
year.
hoping to have? Do we want like a football team?
The thing is, my mom does. My mom always says, have as many as you can. But for me, I think the ideal would be three. And then for my wife, I think the ideal is two.
You'll compromise. You'll figure it out. Do you
Yeah.
think you're gonna have your children be part of the YouTube career? Like, you know how you're very public. Are you gonna try to keep that
Um,
side private?
the thing is, no, I'm obviously gonna have, I'm obviously gonna share that side with them. But my thing is that if my kids genuinely grow an interest in this field and they want to pursue it, like I'm obviously gonna encourage them. My main goal is gonna be just encouraging them, on whatever they love to do, because there's a lot of things that I've learned growing up as well, that the basic jobs that we were forced to, or basic careers that we were forced to get into, whether it be doctor, lawyer, engineer, aren't specifically the best ones. And there are other careers that you can just be as successful, if not more, in. So that's the mentality I'm going to pass down to my children as well, that don't force yourself to become something just for the sake of it. Do whatever you love, because at the end of the day, even if like I give this example, even if, like, let's say you're um even if you have like the lowest of the lowest job, like I don't want to give any name of a job because I don't consider any job to be any lower than the other, but I'm talking about like in the society's terms. Like, as long as you're happy doing it, then that's all that should matter, because a lot of people are rich but they're not happy. And for me, I think that inner happiness and inner peace should come before anything else in life, because if you don't have that, then there's literally no point of having all this money. So that's the thing that I'm going to try to instill in my kids.
That's good. I love this. I think you're gonna be a great dad.
I hope so. I mean, I can't comment on that yet, but let's see when it happens.
I hope you're getting some babysitting experience, right? Or maybe some of your fans, maybe if they want to drop off their kids with you and you can kind of get that trial run.
Well, the thing is, my good friends in Dallas, they're called the Toom Bros. I've worked with them a lot as well. They all became like fathers recently. So I had one of their kids, and I was like learning a few things with them. But I'm gonna try, my best to see, and hopefully it'll be something to learn from.
I think so. Okay, so let's get back to when you were growing up and you were a kid. So you've mentioned your parents a little bit already. What did they think about when you first started going on YouTube? Like, when did they find out that you had this whole other life?
Well, I think like about the time that I started, a month in, they slowly started to find out that I was doing these videos, but I was doing it very like minimal. I would create like a video every like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and plus I wasn't in like a very high grade at the time. I think I was in grade 9, so the education wasn't that strict, and my parents didn't really care that I was doing this on the side. But as years started to progress, and the curriculum got a little more strict, and it was a little harder to keep them both going time to time, that's when my parents got a little annoyed, and they wanted me to just quit YouTube, and they wanted me to pursue my education, which I completely understand. And I feel like if I was in my father's shoe, I would say the same thing to my kid, because at that time the industry was uncertain. I don't think any father would want their kid to be going in an industry, that's uncertain, that might not lead them to success, because at the end of the day, it is our parents that have left everything, back home, to make sure they bring us here and they make sure we have a good future. They've sacrificed everything in their life for us. So for me, I would never say that it was something that, they did just because they wanted me not to, become successful. Obviously, something that, they did out of care and out of love for me, which I understand completely. But initially, I think they weren't supportive of me making content. But as it started to grow, and as my videos started to go viral, more people started to find out. Slowly and slowly, they became more supportive. But as of right now, I did drop out of uni. I made it up till second year, and my dad tells me that no matter how rich you get or no matter how successful you get, you have to finish your education. So I'm working my best on that as well, to try to finish my education on the side as well.
Do you find it comes easy for you to be able to handle the studies and learning and do YouTube?
The thing is, at the end of the day, my way of thinking is that the most two important things in your life are time and money. Those are the two important things that you have going for you. You either have time or you have money, and university takes both of them. It takes time and it takes money. So when you're getting into university, don't just get into it for the sake of it. Get into it understanding that you're investing your time and you're investing money, which if it goes to a waste could have been invested somewhere else where you could have made something bigger. Maybe, like, the example that I give is that I had someone in my program. I don't want to take his name, but there was a person in my program, the same program I dropped out from. He graduated from the program. Before the program, he was a wedding photographer. And then after he graduated, he was still a wedding photographer. So at the end of the day, what I'm thinking is that, why did you graduate just to stay the same that you were before graduating? And had you not put that time into university, that same time you could have invested into making your business bigger. You could have spent that money somewhere else. You could have had better equipment. You could have had like a nice place to live in, a nice car, like anything, whatever makes an individual happy, because everyone has their own definition of happiness. So whatever makes you happy, you could have invested that time and money in. And that's why the whole thing about like having it go side by side, coming back to the question, can you take education and education and YouTube work side by side? You can. But for me, the thing is that I am very like, what's that word called? I'm like very, like, I'm like a perfectionist when it comes to content. I want to make sure that all my work is done to my maximum capability. And I feel like doing that with YouTube at the same time is tough, because at the end of the day, you don't want to have it both going side by side and they both flop, like, let's say you're putting more effort in one thing at once, the other one's failing, then you slowly go to the other one, then this is failing, and at the end of the day you fail both. So instead of losing both, I think it's smarter to pick one and then just go with that. So that's what I did. I picked my career at the time over my education, and that was my reasoning why.
Did you have an idea of what you wanted to be? Like aside, was it always like, okay, I'm going to make YouTube like my full-time career, or was there another career path you were going to go on?
To be honest, I did it because I loved it. I never even thought money could be made from this. It was like 5-6 years into it that I even learned that any sort of monetization or any sort of money could be made from this. I think that if the money aspect didn't come to it, then realistically, like, you need money to support a family to move forward in life. So I might have quit it and done something else in life. But I'm very grateful that it did come and it did stay well for me. But on the other end, if I think that this wasn't a career for me, this question's also asked a lot to me, that people say that if you weren't a YouTuber, what would you be? And to be honest, even to this day, I have no idea. Like, I had no interest in anything. Like, I don't even know what I would have become. So that question, I think, will always be a mystery in my mind as well, that if YouTube hadn't worked out for me, or if YouTube was never in my life, what would I become?
So I'm curious, then what program are you taking then? Is it like a business program?
Yes, so it was actually called Global Business and Digital Arts. It was a new program in University of Waterloo. It came out around 2 years before I entered it, and it seemed promising. Everyone was like, "This is going to be the next big thing." It's like, combining business and digital arts together. So it's like the perfect combination of what you would need as a YouTuber, because you learn the business side, and the digital arts is like Photoshop, video editing. You'll learn that aspect as well. So it's a perfect combination. But I just never found it interesting. I just never found it worth my time.
Okay. So you already mentioned 10 years you've had YouTube success, which is amazing because you're still so young, you're in your 20s. Can you believe you when you hear yourself say, I've been doing this for 10 years? That's like a long time.
Yeah, I can, but the thing is, nobody believes that I'm in my 20s. So for me, it's something that's crazy. But for a lot of other people, are like, they probably think that, oh, he's lying. He's not in his 20s. He's been probably doing this for way longer. He's like at least mid 30s. So the crazy part is that, so for me and my wife, it's always the opposite. So my wife is older than I am, but people say she's younger than me, and I'm younger than her, and people say I'm older than her. So this is the one thing that, although, like, it seems crazy that it's been 10 years, and I feel like I've been really blessed because so many people have started at the same time that I did, but a lot of them, stopped, or a lot of them, just didn't make it. I just feel like it's like a grind that you just have to keep pushing yourself, keep going, and yeah.
why did you make it? Do you ever think back and go, why me? What was it about my videos that went viral?
Basically, if I was to put it in something, I don't know what it was about my videos. The main thing that I think about, the reason could be behind my success is not my hard work, but my parents' prayers. I feel like my parents have been very loyal after like in terms of like always praying for me and always making sure that whatever I do I stay successful in. So I feel like the love that I've gotten, a lot of my fans are also very loyal. So the three things in life that I truly believe led me to my success is my parents' prayers, the love of my fans, and me as a person just being a good human being. I feel like just being a good person, making your fans happy and having your parents happy that are always continuously praying for you, I feel like is the reason why my success is there. I would never give myself credit for my success. I always feel like it's those three things that have led me to be successful in life.
And now I know you and I chatted before. You've got big goals for yourself, right? Big plans. So can you share some insight? Where do you want to take your career now in the next, maybe year or so, and then maybe the next 5 years?
Well, the thing is, like, I'm truly inspired by like all the content that's being created by like Amazon Prime in India or Netflix. A lot of the Indian side of it, I feel like the content is amazing. I feel like they're actually putting time into producing the content, because a lot of the Bollywood films has a lot of nepotism, as you know, that a lot of actors are just taken for the fact that their sons or their daughters of big Bollywood actors. So the content isn't always up to par with what the capability or what the capacity can actually reach in terms of making content. So I feel like Netflix and Amazon Prime or Z5, all these channels or all these platforms have taken content to a level where it should have been from the beginning, but better late than never, we're there now. And I'm really inspired by the content that's made there. And I feel like, if I was to say what is my future in all of this, I would say that I would love to get on, one of those shows and be a part of those and start like a Netflix series or something along those lines, where not only would I be able to give people entertainment, but I would also like to give a message behind whatever I make as well. And a lot of the work that's being produced has a message behind it as well, and it's a lot of good things that are being spoken about in these series. So I think that's hopefully my next goal moving forward if it works out. But understanding the fact that once people perceive you as a YouTuber or a comedian, it's so hard to get people to take you in a different role. Like, let's say if it's a serious role, or if it's a role that doesn't basically fit the way people have always perceived me, that's a challenge of its own, which I would have to overcome. But that's the goal that I have in life right now.
Okay. So let's kind of describe the dream project. So if somebody came to you and said, you know what, you can do whatever you want, any role, any co-stars, what would be the dream project?
I actually have a dream project in my mind, which I was coming up by my own. I don't want to share it too much because I don't want the idea to be out, but I want to take the role of a serious character. And it's so hard because when you say the dream project, like I have the whole thing in my mind. Like I know exactly what I want to do, but unfortunately, like as much as I would love to share it, I can't, because I want to actually like work on this, make a script and make a whole thing and try to like, pitch it to different platforms and see if they would love to take it on board as a project. But until like, I can't, until I get to the phase where I can start pitching it or anything like that, unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to talk about it specifically.
I did read when I was researching you that you were once offered a role in Hollywood, but you turned it down.
Yes, that was very early in my career. I believe it was in 2015, about a
Yeah.
year after I started making Facebook videos, because that's where I got like my big boom from. I had been doing YouTube for a long time, but what really made me go viral was my Facebook videos. And there was a director who was my friend's uncle, and he was basically, that friend was actually in some of my videos. So the uncle was inspired by my content. He said that we want to have Zed as a part of our film. So I went over to his house. He discussed everything with me. There was a kissing scene in the movie. Told him I can't do it. He said, "Why not?" I said, "I can't do it." He said, "Do it. It's not a big deal." I said, "I can't do it." So at the end of the day, basically, it was just the fact that I just couldn't do a kissing scene in a movie, which is why I turned it down. And when I uploaded that post online, I think a lot of people trolled me as well, because they felt like, I was just BSing. I was just making this up and I wasn't being truthful. And some people did praise the fact that, I did that as well. But I feel like personally, for me, or any other influencer who's up and coming, what I want to say is, if you have morals, or if you have certain morals in life, you have to stick by them, and you have to make them before you start your career, because those morals and ethics are the things that are going to keep you grounded and keep you moving forward. Because once you lose certain morals or ethics you had once you started, you're going to lose yourself as a person, and you're literally just going to destroy yourself, and you won't even know what you stand for anymore. So for me, whatever basic morals, ethics, beliefs I've had since the beginning, I've told myself that no matter how much success I may get, for not following them, it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to stick by those beliefs and morals, and that's how I'm going to move forward. So because of that, the crazy thing is I didn't even think twice. The moment he said kissing scene, like in my mind, I was like, nope, it's done. There's no way I'm doing it. So I think that that's really important for a person to have, because that really keeps them grounded.
Absolutely. Okay, so with that responsibility and being a role model, one of the things that I think is also really interesting about your career is I think by accident, you've kind of become the face for Pakistani youth, right? For someone they look up to you. Even though you're saying sometimes they don't agree with everything you do and they troll you, I know there's a lot of your fans that just really look up to you and want to learn from you. So, what is that responsibility like? Not only are you trying to just do your own career and, be happy, but you almost have this responsibility to be the spokesperson for Pakistani youth. How does that make you feel?
Well, the thing is, first of all, I wouldn't consider myself the face of Pakistan. I feel like there's a lot of content creators who are very talented, and a lot of new and upcoming people who have made amazing content, and who are just as loved, if not more, than me by the audience in Pakistan. So I would say that I might be one of the faces, but I wouldn't say I am basically the face of Pakistan. But when it comes to the responsibility of taking the responsibility of having a lot of fan base, a lot of people watching you, I think that it's the same thing, as long as the morals, ethics, and beliefs that I've had from the beginning. As long as I'm not sharing any content that that may be misleading someone, or any content that may be causing corruption in the society, or any content that may be leading people to do something bad in their lives, I feel like I'm doing my job as a content creator, just providing them entertainment. And occasionally, I do speak about social issues as well that are happening in our society. So overall, I don't feel like it's a big burden. I feel like it's a great responsibility, if anything, that I have the opportunity to make a change whenever something does arise in our society that needs to be spoken of. So overall, I think it's a great opportunity to have.
Now, I know you're working on a bunch of campaigns, and I know with some of them, you get to work with your wife, which is awesome. So, is that something we're going to see in the future? We're going to see more and more of your wife kind of becoming like a brand with you?
Yes. So basically, what happens is that she just clicks with me whenever like I'm making vlogs. Like her personality and like our jokes bounce off each other, although we're two different people with two different personalities, but it's so opposite that it actually like works really well. When I put her in my first few vlogs, people started to like love her even more than me, which I was really happy about, that people appreciate her for who she is. And just overall, like it's just whenever I'm making a vlog, like not comedy videos, because in comedy videos I usually don't put my wife. um I do put her in almost all of the vlogs. So whenever I'm making a vlog, it's just natural that if I'm making it, it doesn't even seem like that she's like just coming in the vlog. It's just like it almost seems like it's a natural thing now, that whenever I'm vlogging, she's just with me. So she's slowly became like a part of like everything that I do.
Okay, I think there's a big campaign though that you're working on together, right?
Yeah, so basically, we were recently approached by Super Asia Foods, which is located in Mississauga. They told us to come down and try out the products and the shipment that they have from all different vendors that are from Pakistan. And it was amazing to see that, they brought a lot of cultural aspect from the east to the west. So when me and Yumna went in there, we saw a lot of different products like chili milli, let's say like all the products that, as a kid we grew up to. And it was a lot of fun. We made a short little video trying to see how many products I can recognize and how many products Yumna can recognize. Because although people might seem that Yumna's a little whitewashed, she was born in Pakistan just like me as well. So we did have a little bit of our childhood that we spent there. So whenever we would get like money on Eid, then we were like out to go shopping, or not shopping, but like go to like shops with our friends and like buy candy and stuff. So all those products we saw once again, and it really made me happy, and it made me reminisce about those times as a kid. So me and her basically had a challenge about who's going to recognize more products. Surprisingly, she knew more than me, which doesn't make any sense, but it was a fun challenge overall. And the crazy part was that the people that were there were really, really nice people as well. So the thing that I always say in all of my work as well is that when I promote a product, I don't just promote the product. I want to promote the entire business idea and the people that are also involved in the product as well. So if I'm promoting a product but the people behind it are not good people, or I don't see good intentions, I usually don't tend to promote it. But the person working there, a key really amazing guy, gave us, a lot of love, helped us with everything, made sure we were well taken care of. So overall, it was an amazing experience we had. I mean, hopefully I get to work on a longer project with them, or long term with them in the future. But yeah, it was overall a great experience. And the best part was that not only are their products available through different vendors or shops, but you can also get them on their website and basically, bring that cultural aspect from Pakistan here out in the West. And the best part that they also told me is that once we buy these products, we're actually contributing to the farmers back home, because these brands are supporting the local farmers who are then bringing these products over here. So it's also a way of, like, giving back to the community back home. So overall, amazing message, great vibes, and it was just overall a great collaboration.
Sounds like it. Okay, I know you're branching out into acting projects, but let's just go back to YouTube for a moment. For other people that are aspiring to get into entertainment, maybe they also want to use YouTube. What do you think is the future of YouTube? Do you still think it's a great platform for people to launch their careers?
Yes, definitely. I feel like YouTube is great, but I feel like, each platform has its own, like, unique capabilities. So, I mean, if someone's trying to launch themselves, depending on what they're trying to get into, if they're trying to become a model, I wouldn't suggest YouTube. I would say get on Instagram, because Instagram is more photo related, and, it's better for building your portfolio there. So at the end of the day, it just matters on what you're trying to become, what your end goal is. And I feel like every platform out there has a different niche and different career that you can build out of it. So just basically depending on what you're trying to be, you can pick which platform you would like to go on.
Okay, and then I'm going to end this interview with some advice. What's your advice to other people that are struggling and are trying to overcome hardships?
Well, the thing is, I would say that faith is a very strong aspect in life. I feel like having strong faith and having strong beliefs is a very important thing. At the end of the day, you just have to have faith that, something good is going to happen in your life, which I feel like is destined for everyone, as long as, they're not doing anything wrong in their life, as long as they're keeping their head up high and staying motivated in life. I feel like everyone is destined for greatness, and that's the way that you have to believe yourself as well. Like, if someone was to ask me 10 years ago or 15 years ago, where would you be in life? I would say I would probably be a loser. I wouldn't be anywhere in life. But here I am 15 years later, I look back at myself and I just ask myself that why wasn't I, thinking the way I should be now? Like, why wasn't I thinking positive? Because at the end of the day, like, whichever success story that you see online, it's always about people that, were either bullied, or, people that had a hard time growing up. And I feel like all those people tend to grow up and become successful. So I would just say, keep your head up high, keep working through life. And, I think that I think God has a plan for everyone, and it's always a good plan.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Really,
No
this has
worries.
been awesome.
No, it was great speaking with you. I think I said a lot of things in there that I shouldn't have either, especially about the kids. Hopefully Yumna doesn't see this and get upset at me. But other than that, yeah, it was really nice chatting with you, and I hope that they take something positive away from this, and, if it inspires them or it helps them, uh, learn something about YouTube or just life in general, then that would be really great. All right, guys. So I hope you really, really enjoyed this interview. I had an amazing time speaking with Amin, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel.